Hello, good evening, and welcome to another Anglify webinar. Thank you for joining us. I see there are some people here already. That's great to see. I know that today is a holiday. It's a public holiday in most countries. So a lot of people are busy this evening, but we have our Thursday evening schedule. So it's great to have some people here. So if you're here, please say hello. Yes, welcome, Ellen. Thank you for joining. It's great to see you. So as I mentioned, today is the 1st of May, and it's a holiday in a lot of places. So maybe we can start by saying, what do you think is the perfect way to spend the 1st of May? So welcome, Sebastian. Thank you for coming. L'Atelier, great to see you again. And Sylvie. Good. Sylvain, welcome. So my question to you is, what do you think is the perfect way to spend the 1st of May? So did anybody have a great day today? So Ellen says, forage or pick up lily of the valley in the forest. Oh, great. Yes. I just heard about Lily of the Valley in France just this week. I didn't know about that it's a big tradition in France. Did you pick any Lily of the Valley in the forest today, Hélène? Welcome, Letitia and Angelique and Emily and Nicole. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. So L'Atelier says, cropping acacia flowers, they're so beautiful, to make pastry and tea. Wow, okay. So do you use acacia flowers to make pastry? I have never tried that. It sounds really interesting. Maybe I will have to learn more about that. So those are great suggestions. So Lily of the Valley, it's in bloom in a lot of places now. It's so beautiful. Okay, so L'Atelier said, yes, you can make cake and beignets. Okay, wow. I will look it up, L'Atelier. That sounds great. And Ellen said that she collected some Lily of the Valley. Yes, the Lily of the Valley came a little bit earlier this year. Yes, we have Lily of the Valley in Ireland too. Yes, it's a beautiful, beautiful flower. Sylvie says you rest. Yes, we're going to be talking about that today, about resting and relaxing and taking it easy. Okay, welcome, Caroline. Great to see you. Thank you very much for coming. So thank you everyone for coming to today's webinar. Today we're going to be talking a lot about travel and tourism, and there's going to be a lot of vocabulary. So have your pen and paper ready, perhaps to note down some of the important vocabulary, or just sit back, like Sylvie said, rest, relax, and listen. We will be looking at some important vocabulary for when you travel. So just to get us started, I would like to ask you a question about what was your favorite trip? What was the best trip that you have ever gone on? So maybe some of you can tell me in the chat about a trip that you particularly enjoyed. So for me, I love all travel. So I've been lucky to be to a lot of nice places. And I think last year I had a great trip when I went to Switzerland. It's a beautiful country. You have the Alps, and it's absolutely amazing there. So I really enjoyed that trip. Christoph is here. Welcome, Christoph. Thank you for joining. Natalie, welcome. Ellen said San Francisco. Wow, such a great city. Yeah, I bet that's amazing. L'Atelier said Denmark. Okay, an amazing place. Caroline, Thailand. It's fantastic. Yes, Thailand is beautiful. Angelique, Slovenia. Slovenia. In English, we say Slovenia. Yes. I think that's my parents' favorite destination too, Slovenia. Emily, Bali. Okay, great. Letitia, Colombia. Wow, yeah, I think it's amazing. Sylvie said the Niagara Falls. Yes, it's wonderful. Australia. Christoph says Bali. I know, Christoph, perhaps you went diving in Bali. It's a great destination for diving, I think. Freddie says Croatia. Oh, yeah, I love Croatia too. It's so good. Florence, New Zealand and Sydney. Nice. Sebastian says Corsica. I have never been to Corsica, but I've heard a lot of good things about it. Ellen says Italy, yes, for the food. To be honest, I think Italian food, it's the best in Europe. It's even better than French food. I'm sorry, French people, but I think Italian food is even better. Yeah, Christoph, diving in Bali, it's great. Freddie said Dominican Republic. Okay, interesting. I imagine it's beautiful there. Tropical island. Yeah, nice. Okay, so we have a lot of amazing places. Nobody said some town in France. France is such a great destination. We're going to be talking about that soon as well. So yeah, now I just want to travel. So the reason I decided to do the webinar on the topic of travel and tourism was because it's the 1st of May, it's the start of summer, and a lot of people are already planning their summer holidays and summer trips. So if you have any questions about your summer trip, or if you're having any problems organizing it, maybe we can help you tonight. So Ellen says, French cooking is more sophisticated. Yes, I think so. But Italian food is so delicious with simple things. Yes, I agree. French, it's a little more elegant, more refined. And Italian, it's great simplicity and great ingredients. Yeah, both are fantastic. So let me share my screen, my slides for this evening. Oops. Good. So, as always, this evening's webinar is brought to you with the support of Anglify. As most of you know, Anglify provide one-to-one personalized language lessons online, and you can use your CPF to organize that. So it's a really great course. And here's for today, travel and tourism. So we've already discussed that. Okay, so we look at a little bit of vocabulary and different situations where you might be able to use some English in different situations. Of course, travel, it's a great opportunity to practice your English. Yes, when you go to other countries. So let's start with some basic travel vocabulary. And first, I have a little group of words: travel, trip, and journey. I put these 3 words together because they can cause a lot of confusion. So there can be some difficulties with them. Let's start, first of all, with travel. Generally, usually, we use travel as a verb. Okay, so I traveled to Italy. I traveled to New Zealand. Okay, so it's a regular verb, and it talks about the movement from one place to another. Sometimes we ask, how do you travel to work? Oh, I take the train. So how do you travel? So usually travel is a verb. It can be a noun, but when it's a noun, it talks about the idea. So for example, today we are talking about travel. So we can use it as a noun as well. But we don't usually use it, we don't say things like, did you have a nice travel or something like that. That's where we use trip. So trip, in this context, yes, did you have a good travel? No, we don't usually say that. So that's where we use trip. So in this context, trip is a noun. Did you have a good trip? Did you have a nice trip? I went on a business trip. I went on a road trip. And a trip is the entire time you are away from home. So, for example, if you live like Ellen in Normandy and you travel to San Francisco and you spend 2 weeks in San Francisco and then you travel back to Normandy, I might say, wow, that was a great trip. And it includes all parts of the time that Ellen was away. So that was a great trip. We might say it was a 2-week trip. So sometimes we can use 2-week as an adjective, 2-week, 3-week, 3-month. So be careful, do not pluralize the week there. A lot of people say 2 weeks trip, but no, here week is acting as an adjective for our main noun trip. So it was a 2-week trip or it was a 3-month trip. Okay. So did you have a nice trip? Did you have a good trip? I'm going on a business trip. You can go on a day trip just for one day. Okay, and then the next word is journey. Again, journey is generally a noun. Technically, it's possible to use it as a verb, but we don't really use it much as a verb at all. It's almost always a noun. And the journey, it's from when you leave your home to when you arrive at your destination. So if I ask Ellen about her trip to San Francisco, she can tell me all about the 2 weeks. It was great. I saw a lot of amazing things. I ate good food. I met nice people. That's the trip. But if I say, was it a long journey? And she said, yes, 10 hours on the plane. Or Florence, I think, mentioned traveling to New Zealand. Was it a long journey to reach New Zealand? I think it's a very long journey. So be careful here with the pronunciation. Journey, journey. Also, don't confuse it with a similar word in French, but with a completely different meaning. Okay, so here, the English word journey, it just talks about moving from one place to another. So Florence said, 28 hours. Wow, that's a really long journey. That's a really long journey. Was it a pleasant journey, Florence? Did you enjoy the time on the plane, or was it boring and uncomfortable? Yes, Ellen agrees. 28 hours, it's a really long journey. Okay, the next two words that are a little bit, that sometimes cause confusion are luggage and baggage. These are basically the same thing. So one thing we need to be careful of is that luggage and baggage both are uncountable nouns. And they refer to all of your bags. So sometimes when you travel, you maybe have a small backpack and a suitcase and maybe a laptop bag. All of these things together, it's your baggage. So you have individual bags or individual suitcases, but everything together is your baggage. Remember, it's talking about all of these things together. So that means it's uncountable, just like furniture. So we never say baggages. Okay, we never say I have 3 baggages. No, you can say I have 3 bags, but I have a lot of baggage. Another important word to recognize is your baggage allowance. So when you're preparing for your trip, when you buy your plane ticket, you need to check your baggage allowance. Are you allowed to take 3 bags or just 1, 2? Okay. How heavy can your bags be? So it depends on the airline, it depends on your ticket. So they might talk about your baggage or luggage allowance. So remember, luggage or baggage, basically the same thing. They are uncountable nouns. It talks about all of your bags together. Next, I put in the verb to pack. To pack. It's a regular verb, so I packed my bags. I packed my bags. So when you put all of your things, the things that you want to take, you close your bag. Now, I have packed my bags. I have packed my bags. The next word, it's another noun, your destination. I think maybe there's a similar word in French. So the place that you want to go, your destination. So sometimes when you travel through an airport, people might ask, what is your final destination? Okay, it basically means, where are you going? For the travel by plane, by train, by bus, you will need a ticket. Okay, so before you go, make sure to buy your ticket today. A lot of the time we have digital tickets. It's just on the application or emailed. We don't have a paper ticket. And accommodation is also an important consideration when traveling. Accommodation means the place where you will sleep, the place where you will stay. It could be a hotel, a B&B, a hostel, a guest house. By the way, be careful with the word hostel. In English, a hostel, it means very basic accommodation, where you will usually have dormitory rooms or dorm rooms. So a dorm means a room where a lot of people sleep in one room. So you might have 6 or 10 or 12 beds for people to sleep. So a hostel is very basic accommodation. A youth hostel, exactly. So in the past, they were usually called youth hostels, but today, usually we just say hostel because it's not just for young people. But yes, you're correct. You can say youth hostel. Great. Okay. So yes, Florence said she slept a lot on the plane, 28 hours. Wow. If there are any questions or any comments, remember, just add them to the chat anytime. So that's our basic vocabulary for travel and traveling. Move on to the first section. It's planning a trip, okay? So that we're planning a trip. And the first question you need to ask yourself is, what is our destination? Where should we go? So here we use should because, what's a good idea? Where should I go or where should we go? So now I'm going to ask you, imagine I am going to visit France. Can anybody tell me, where should I go in France? Where would be a good place for me to visit in France? I would like to know because I hope that I will visit France next year. Originally, I thought I might visit France this year, but I don't think so. So maybe next year. Natalie says Paris. Yes, it's a great choice. I have been to Paris 2 times, Natalie, but both times were very short. And I think you are right. I need to go back to Paris because I haven't seen a lot of Paris. Ellen says Normandy. Oh, yes, I think Normandy is beautiful. My father and his brother visited Normandy a few years ago to see the beaches where the D-Day landings took place and to see the cemeteries. I think it's a very historic place and very interesting place. Christophe says La Ciotat. I'm not sure if I am pronouncing it correctly. La Ciotat. I don't know that place, Christophe. Can you tell me more about that? It sounds interesting. Caroline says Haute-Savoie. Haute-Savoie, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. So I think, Caroline, Haute-Savoie is in the Alps. Is that correct? So it's maybe near the border with Switzerland. It might be beautiful there. Yes, I imagine. Sebastian says, not Paris, the Alps, the Alps. Okay. Yes, if you don't want to go to a city, the Alps, it's a great choice. Freddie agrees with Hélène. Natalie says cognac. Okay, well, I know, Natalie, about the drink cognac, but I don't know about the place. So I suppose it's famous for the beautiful drink, but I don't know what else you can do. And Natalie, I don't drink alcohol, so maybe I should not go to cognac. Um, and Natalie, other Natalie says Avignon. Yes, I have a friend from Avignon, and she told me that it's beautiful. And she told me that every summer there's a great arts festival, theater festival. It's really nice. Florence said Périgord or Auvergne. Okay, yes, I don't know a lot about those places, but recently a student told me about Périgord and I looked at some pictures. It looks amazing. I want to go there. Latelier says the Mediterranean. Yes, it's amazing. I have been to Nice on the Mediterranean coast, and I really liked it there. It's a beautiful city. Latelier says not in August, maybe because it's too hot or because it's too crowded. Thank you, Hélène. Freddie says there's a lot of amazing places. Yes, there are a lot of amazing places in France. Sylvain says Alsace. Yes, I have heard good things about that. And yeah, I have seen pictures, of course, of Strasbourg. I think Strasbourg is in Alsace. It looks like a beautiful place. So Christophe says, between Marseille and Toulon. Okay, so I know that Marseille and Toulon are very close. So you have this region between. That's nice. Okay, good. So that could be a good idea, Christophe, because you can visit two interesting cities and La Ciotat. Okay, I will do some research. Florence added Bordeaux, Pays Basque. Yeah, a lot of places. Okay. And Freddie says, Gerard Mayer, to ride motorbikes. Okay. Yes, and good food everywhere. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so we have established that France has a lot of amazing places, a lot of great places to visit. So I'm excited. Some of the places I know, and some are new to me. So I'm excited for my trip to France. Yeah, the decision is the part where to go. So when it comes to deciding where you want to go, it's good idea to get recommendations. So just like you guys gave me a lot of good recommendations. So I can ask, what do you recommend for someone who likes beautiful scenery? And Sebastian might say, oh, the Alps has beautiful scenery. What do you recommend for someone who wants to visit art galleries and museums? And Natalie might say, oh, some of the best museums in the world. What do you recommend for someone who wants to see interesting festivals? And you might say, oh, Avignon, there's a great festival in the summer in Avignon. So what do you recommend? It's a key question when you're trying to decide your destination. The answer? I recommend going to, this is interesting. Remember last week we had the grammar webinar. Some of you were here and we saw the verb pattern, recommend plus ing. I recommend going to Périgord. I recommend going to the Alsace. When it comes to food, Ellen might say, I recommend trying some local food. So we have recommend and then our ing. You could also say suggest, but more common in English is to use recommend. France's problem is the French. No, the French are great. They're great. It's not true. All the people here, it's great to be here. So I think I will meet a lot of nice and friendly people in France. Um, Here's another way to recommend something a little bit indirectly. Why don't you go to, so for example, if some people say, you should go to Paris, you should go to Bordeaux, you should go to Marseille. And I say, I don't want to go to a big city. I want to go somewhere peaceful. So people say, okay, why don't you go to the Alps? Why don't you go to the Alsace? Why don't you go to Perigord? Or if I say, but I want to be somewhere quiet, but also somewhere on the coast because I want to go swimming and maybe surfing. Surfing? You should definitely go to the Atlantic coast. So if you want to go surfing, you should definitely go to the Atlantic coast, maybe Bayonne or Biarritz or near Bordeaux or La Rochelle. You should definitely go to the Atlantic coast. Ellen, can you surf at Ile de Ré? Biarritz for surfing? Yes, yes. So you should definitely go to Biarritz for surfing. Or I might say, well, I really like wine. I'm crazy about wine, and I know France has a lot of good wine. And you might say, oh, you would love Bordeaux. If you like wine, you would love Bordeaux. Okay, so it's important to ask for recommendations and the different ways we can respond and give recommendations. I recommend ing. I recommend going. I recommend trying. I recommend visiting. Why don't you? Why don't you go? Why don't you try? Why don't you visit? You should. You should go. You should definitely go. You should try. You should visit. Okay. Okay, so yes, spirits is the best place for surfing. But I think, Ellen, you have to be a bit of an expert because the waves are quite big in Biarritz. So maybe for me, a beginner place is better. I don't know. So if your friends or your family don't have any recommendations or suggestions, you can try media. So we're going to look at TV, newspapers and magazines, travel guides, be careful with the pronunciation, guide, travel guide, social media and blogs. Yeah, so different media options can also help. So by the way, next week, the webinar on Thursday will be about media and news and reading and listening to the news. So just to let you know about that. Okay, the Burgundies aren't bad. The Burgundy is for wine or for surfing, Florence? Or maybe both? Because I know Burgundy, it's famous for wine. Is that right? Okay, so I did some research into the best places to go in France according to different media. So I looked at Lonely Planet, it's a travel guide. Time Out, it's a travel magazine, travel website. TripAdvisor, I think everybody knows that. Okay, Burgundy for wine, yes. TripAdvisor, US Travel News, it's another website, and also use some AI, ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT, what are 3 great places to visit in France? And I got these different results. So Lonely Planet said Lorraine, Rocamadour, and Bordeaux. Okay, so interesting. I'm surprised to see Lorraine there. I have not heard a lot about this region. I know that it's famous for quiche. You can eat quiche Lorraine. Okay, Ellen says Rocamadour. It's amazing. Okay, I didn't know. The only thing I know about Rocamadour is the delicious cheese. So that's a good reason to go there, I suppose. And Bordeaux, as Florence mentioned, it's great for wine and it's a beautiful city. Time out. You can see time out. It's more focused on big cities. And they said Paris, Marseille, and Nice. Okay, so yeah, 3 fantastic cities, I think. Let me see. Sylvan, are you disappointed to see that Lyon is not in the top 3? Or I'm surprised that for cities, Bordeaux is not mentioned, but it's mentioned by Lonely Planet. Florence says Nancy and Metz. Okay, 2 beautiful towns in Lorraine. Okay, I know that in Metz there's a beautiful cathedral. Yes. Okay. TripAdvisor says Eiffel Tower, Louvre, and Musée d'Orsay. Okay, Eiffel Tower, Louvre, and Musée d'Orsay. You can see all of these destinations are in Paris. So TripAdvisor thinks that France is Paris. Yeah, Sylvain is disappointed. Where's Lyon? Yeah, I think Lyon's a great city. US travel news says Paris, the Alps, and Nice. And ChatGPT said Paris, Provence, and Mont Saint Michel. Yes, I think it's amazing. It's amazing. So you can see I wrote in blue all of the Paris attractions. So Paris, it's mentioned by almost all. Nice is mentioned twice. And then it's a mix. Okay. So I think there are some good recommendations there. So it's interesting. From your recommendations, you didn't mention Rocamadour or Mont Saint Michel. So those are good options as well. Okay. Now, the problem with recommendations is a lot of people go to the same place. So do you want to avoid the crowds? So if you want to avoid the crowds, you better not go to the most popular places. So I did some research into the most popular places to visit in France, and Notre Dame in Paris is number 1 with 13.6 million visitors per year. The Louvre is number 2 with 8.5 million visitors. The Eiffel Tower, number 3, 6.2 million visitors. And the Palace of Versailles is number 4 with 6 million. And the Pompidou Center is number 5 with 3.6 million. So you can see the top 5 places to visit in all of France are all in Paris. Yes, exactly. So Sebastian says to Lonely Planet, Paris is not France. You have a lot of great cities. Okay, Freddie and Ellen said Chateau de Königsburg. Okay, Chateau de Königsburg. It's difficult to say for me. Okay, that sounds beautiful. Is that in the Loire Valley? Because I know there are a lot of beautiful chateaux in the Loire Valley. Okay, so it can be good to avoid crowds, but outside of Paris, you have a lot of popular places. So the most popular destination outside the Paris region is Mont Saint Michel with 1 million visitors. Notre Dame de la Garde in Marseille, 800,000 visitors. Chateau de Chambord, 711,000 visitors. Metz Cathedral, 650,000, and Bastille de Grenoble, 600,000. Okay. So if you want to avoid the crowds, we have an expression, to get off the beaten track. It's a little idiom, a little expression. So when you go somewhere that's different, that's not really popular, we say, I got off the beaten track. So if you want to get off the beaten track, don't go to Mont Saint-Michel, don't go to Paris. You need to go somewhere different. Perhaps some of the places you mentioned would be good options. Okay, so another way to get some recommendations or get some ideas for travel is movies and books. Can anybody recognize the picture? What movie does it come from? The reason I chose this picture is because this movie inspired me. I loved this movie when I was a kid. I know perhaps I'm a little bit older than some of you, so maybe you haven't seen this movie, but I loved this movie. Can anybody recognize it, or do you know what the name of it is? Freddie said Crocodile Dundee. Exactly. Okay, good. Nicole recognizes it. Yes, yes. So it's Crocodile Dundee. And of course, it is set in Australia. So the movie is set in. When we talk about the place where the action happens, we say it is set in. So Crocodile Dundee is set in Australia. And when I saw this movie when I was a kid, I thought Australia was amazing. It was so cool. There are crocodiles. There are crazy guys like Dundee. So I really wanted to visit Australia because of this movie. It inspired me. Has anybody else had a similar experience? Have you ever seen a movie and been inspired to travel there, or a series? For example, I think on Netflix there's a popular series, Emily in Paris, and a lot of people, perhaps especially from the United States or from Japan and China, traveled to Paris because they saw Emily in Paris. Okay. So Ellen said, "You don't like crocodiles, Ellen?" In the movie, they are friendly. So Latelia said she saw the series Charmed, and now you want to go to San Francisco. Yes. Okay. Good. Good. Anybody else? Was anybody else ever inspired by a movie or a series or a song to want to visit somewhere? Okay, so Ellen says Los Angeles. Okay, for Charmed, you want to go to Los Angeles. Okay, okay. Okay, and Natalia says both. Yeah, you can do both. California. Yes. Okay, so it's a mix. You have to go to both San Francisco and Los Angeles. Okay, great. Good advice. Thanks, Helen. So I just thought about maybe some manga or anime sometimes inspires people to go to Japan. Squid Games or some K drama, K pop sometimes inspires people to want to visit Korea. Jane Austen novels, if anyone's a fan, maybe they want to visit England to see the old houses and things like that. The Beach movie, an old movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and a book, inspired a lot of people to want to visit Thailand. And the Da Vinci Code inspired people to visit the Louvre and Paris in general. Okay. Good. Okay, so Florence saw the George Clooney movie, The Descendants, and now she wants to go to Hawaii. Oh, yeah, that would be good. That would be really nice. Good, great. Okay. Okay, La Maison Bleue in San Francisco. Okay, nice places to visit from the TV series. Okay, great. Any other ideas, please share. But movies and media are really great for getting inspiration and getting ideas for travel. But it's important to think about your budget. For example, Florence mentioned The Descendants and Hawaii. Hawaii looks beautiful. It looks amazing in the movie. Yes, I want to go to Hawaii, but it's a very expensive destination. So it's important to think about how much money can I spend on this trip? So you have to budget carefully. By the way, the budget can be a noun or it can be a verb. So when you organize your budget, and you try not to spend too much money, you can say, I am budgeting. Or sometimes we say, I am on a budget. When you want to buy something, someone might ask you, what is your budget? So, for example, if you want to travel to an island and you say, I want to visit a beautiful island. If I say, oh, Hawaii, that's out of my budget. Okay, well, Corsica, it's closer. It's a beautiful island. What about Corsica? Okay, good. So Hélène said La Maison Bleue, it's a French song. Okay, I don't know it. Okay, and it's about a house in San Francisco. Okay, and Freddie said Game of Thrones in Croatia. Yes. Also, Freddie, you can visit some places from Game of Thrones in Ireland because some of it was filmed in Ireland. So, okay. So when it comes to the budget, there are different things to consider. Flights, that's going to be a big expense. So if you have to fly, that will be a big part of the budget. Accommodation, we mentioned already. It's a good idea, especially if you are leaving Europe, but in general, anywhere, it's a good idea to get insurance, travel insurance. So that's another expense to consider in your budget. And then also to think about the necessities. Are they cheap or expensive? So when you reach your destination, things like a bottle of water or a pint of beer or food in a restaurant, is it cheaper than what you usually pay in France, or is it more expensive? So Florence said Corsica is very expensive too. Yes, yes, but you don't have to fly. You can get the ferry from I think from Marseille or Toulon or Nice, which might be expensive, but I think it's cheaper than flying to Hawaii. But it's true, Corsica, it's expensive in the summer because it's popular. Yeah. Okay. We need to think about the budget, and we also need to think about time. So, how long do you want to travel for? How much time have you got? Of course, you need to ask for time off work. Can I have 2 weeks off? Can I have 3 weeks off in June? Can I have 2 weeks off in August? So you have to think about that. And if you have kids, you have to think about school holidays. So is it possible to travel with the kids, or do they have school? Okay. Okay, nice, nice. Thank you, Ellen. That sounds really interesting. I will do some more research about that. Caroline said Thailand is cheap. Okay, so I think the necessities and the accommodation are quite cheap in Thailand, but the flights are expensive. Yes, exactly. Okay, so maybe it balances, Caroline. And Freddie said travel in winter. Exactly. So sometimes we talk about low season. So in Corsica, winter is the low season, and we talk about the peak season or high season. So everything is more expensive in the peak season, the high season. Our next consideration is booking things. Do you book everything in advance, or are you spontaneous? What are the advantages of booking everything in advance? What are the advantages of booking in advance? And what are the advantages of being spontaneous? What do you think? So personally, I love being spontaneous, but booking things sometimes is more practical. Florence said, dreaming is the beginning of the journey. Yes, yes, I agree completely. So yes, it kind of helps you to get started. Florence said it's less expensive. If you book in advance, it's often less expensive. And Ellen said, if you have children, yes, if you have children, it's better to book in advance to have everything organized. CB, thank you for joining us. Said that booking in advance is cheaper. Yes, I think so. Yes. Also, booking in advance is less stressful. You don't feel really stressed because you know everything is organized. Sometimes being spontaneous can be a little bit stressful. Good. Okay, so next we have to think about packing. Okay, Christoph said another option is to book the first 2 nights, the first 3 nights, and after you can be a little bit more spontaneous. Yeah, that's a good idea. Really good idea, Christoph, to do a balance, to do a mix. CB says booking in advance, you can choose your place. Yes, you have more choices. And Florence agreed. Okay, more choice for accommodation. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Okay, great. Good input. Now I want to talk about packing. So we have the expression, do you travel light? So, for example, I usually travel light. So I just have a small bag, my computer, my camera, a few basic things. I don't take a big suitcase, but some people prefer to take a big suitcase. So it's something to consider. Do I want to travel light with just a small bag? Or should I bring a big suitcase or a big backpack? Okay, so Ellen told me, voyager léger. Okay, so to travel light, it's the same expression in French. Perfect. Another thing to consider is, will I bring cash or cards? Thank you, Ellen. Will I bring cash or cards? So again, there are some advantages and disadvantages. Sometimes with a card, you forget about how much money you're spending. But with cash, there are security issues. Okay. So different to consider when you're packing. So let's look at some of the essentials for packing. First of all, passport. If you are leaving your country, if you are flying, or if you're leaving the European Union, you need your passport. Simple. Sunscreen. For me, this is very important because I have pale skin. So if I'm going somewhere hot and sunny, I need sunscreen. Sunglasses, also good. I often forget them, but it's a good idea. If you travel to Ireland, you need a rain jacket. But regardless of where you travel, I think a rain jacket is a good idea, just in case it rains. A few changes of clothes. Okay, obviously. Toiletries, so your toothbrush, toothpaste, shampoo, shower gel. So the things that you will need in the bathroom, we call your toiletries. Good. Ellen asked about sun cream, sun lotion, the same thing. Okay. So sometimes we say sunscreen, sun cream, sun lotion. They're the same thing. We also have sunblock. It's a little bit different. Okay. But they are the same thing basically. So sunscreen, sun lotion, sun cream. And then you can also use sunblock. It's a different compound, a different system, but basically the same thing. Good question. CB said your swimsuit. Yes, good idea. Yes, you need your swimsuit for sure. So yeah, you have your toiletries, and also a first aid kit is a good idea. So a very basic first aid kit with some medicine, with some tablets in case you get sick. If you have an upset stomach or a headache, you might need some basic medicine, perhaps a plaster or band-aid if you cut your finger or something like that. And maybe some disinfectant, some alcohol can be a good idea too. So a small or basic first aid kit is a good idea. And now everybody has a phone, so don't forget your phone charger. Yes, so CB said like a kind of emergency kit. Yes, yes, exactly. So first aid or emergency kit. Christoph, flip-flops, good idea, good idea. Yes, yeah, I think so too. Okay, so we have a lot of things there. It depends on the person. For example, when my family go traveling, their essentials, it's a box of tea bags from Ireland because they love the Irish tea. So each person has different essentials. Maybe you bring a special product, France, as well. Yes, Florence, there are frogs outside. There are a lot of frogs outside, and the window is open. Sorry about that. Okay, so next, when you arrive at the airport, you have some vocabulary, some key vocabulary for when you arrive at the airport is the check-in. So when you show your passport and your details, this is called check-in. So when you arrive at the airport, you'll see check-in desk for Ryanair, check-in desk for Air France. When you go to the check-in desk, you can give them your checked luggage. So your checked luggage is the luggage that will go onto the plane. So usually they weigh this. Remember, you have your luggage allowance, and they will put a tag. So with your personal information on it and a barcode, and this will be taken away to the plane. And then you have your carry-on bag. So maybe a small bag with some basic things in it. This is called your carry-on bag. Yeah, first aid kit is obligatory. If you're traveling by car or perhaps by motorbike, first aid kit is obligatory. Yeah, in a lot of countries, it's true. Okay, so you have your luggage, checked luggage. Remember, they will weigh your checked luggage to see how heavy it is, and then your carry-on bag. Then you will receive a boarding pass. So again, a little piece of paper with a barcode so you can enter the area. Sometimes it's digital. It might be on an application. You have your boarding pass. You need to then go to passport control, so to the police section, security section, to check that you are okay to fly. And then you can go to your gate. So again, you'll see in the information boards, the TV screens, sometimes it will say flight 57B, go to gate 17. Customs, when you arrive, yes, you need to, if you need to declare something, you have to go to the customs. So that's when you arrive at your destination. But if first go to your gate, then you have your flight, and you will go through customs. Okay. Now, of course, flying is not the only option. So travel by plane. We say, by the way, be careful with the pronunciation, plane, aeroplane or plane. So travel by plane, we use the verb to fly. I flew to Sydney. I flew to New York. I flew to Napoli. Travel by train, travel by bus, travel by ferry. I got the train to, so in France, you're lucky. In Paris, you can get the Eurostar train, so you can get the train to London. But you can also get the train to Lyon, to Bordeaux, to lots of destinations in France or outside of France. Maybe you can go to Rome or to Berlin. So it's great. So I got the train. The train to Venice. Wow, that's fantastic. It's really a romantic journey, I think. To drive your car, I drove to, So you can be independent if you drive your car. Remember, drive, it's an irregular verb. Drive, drove in the past simple, or driven in the past participle. So I drove to Marseille. I drove to Hamburg. And of course, you can ride your bike. Sorry, that should say your bike. Ride your bike. So I cycled to, I know there are lots of nice places to cycle in France. For example, the Canal du Midi. You might say, I cycled to Toulouse, or along the Loire. I cycled to Nantes. Okay, so you can ride your bike or your motorbike. Yeah. I think the next one, it's not very popular anymore, but you can hitchhike. Okay, so I hitchhiked to. So hitchhike, it's when you wait at the side of the road for a car to come and stop and collect you. It's not so common now, but it was more common in the past. I know that in France you have BlaBlaCar, so sometimes we call this ride sharing. It's a little bit similar to hitchhiking. It's another good option. Freddie, did you cycle to Cork? Okay, was it a good cycle? Okay, you have lots of different transport options. And then we have arrived at our destination. Okay, we have arrived. So we planned, we got our ideas, we packed, we went to the airport or the train station, or we got in the car, and now we have arrived at our destination. We have different options. What kind of holiday do we want? Do we want to take it easy? So we have the expression to take it easy. Remember earlier, one of you told me that on the 1st of May, the best thing to do is to rest, relax, take it easy. So relax by the pool, lie on the beach, eat lunch on the terrace, go out for a drink, sleep in. Sleep in, it's a phrasal verb, and it means to stay in bed until whenever you want. There's no alarm, there's no rush, just stay in bed, sleep in. Okay, so it's a really relaxing holiday. Who here says that's the perfect holiday for them? That's the holiday that they want. They can say, I want to take it easy on my holiday. I want to take it easy. To be honest, it's not the best holiday for me. Letelia says, nope. Yes, we are on the same page. Ellen, to take a nap on the beach, that's good, but be careful with the sun. One time, Ellen, in Spain, I fell asleep on the beach and I was badly sunburned. Okay, so it's nice, but be careful. CB says, I want to lie on the beach. Okay, you like the relaxing holiday. Take it easy. Yeah, good idea, Ellen, if you have a sun umbrella. In fact, we often use a word that comes from Spanish, and I think in French you use it too, parasol, for the sun umbrella. So a parasol. So under a parasol, it's a better idea. Okay, the next group, it's culture overload. So these are people who like to go to museums, visit historic sites, go to an art gallery, stroll around the city center, go to a show, an opera or a theater or something like that. Yeah, parasol, it's the same in French. Yeah, it comes from Spanish, exactly. So, you have culture holiday, museums, art galleries, stroll around the city center and look at the beautiful architecture. To stroll means to walk in a very calm, relaxed way. So Ellen says, yes, culture holiday. That's the number one for her. I think me too. I think this is my favorite type of holiday. Maybe see some historic sites. Yeah. Okay. And another group, it's active holidays. So we mentioned earlier bike trips or bike tours. So go for a hike, try a new sport, climbing, surfing, sailing, rent bikes, volunteer. So sometimes when you're on holidays, you can volunteer with an organization, find somewhere peaceful. Yes, CB says, yes, this is for her. Okay. Um, yes. So some people like the take it easy option. Some people get active. Some people culture. But I think Ellen might be right. The perfect holiday is a mix of all. Yes. Freddie said a lot of parties. Yeah, I didn't include that because that's not my type of holiday. But yeah, it can be nice too. We are going to look at some trends in travel for 2025. Yes, the perfect holiday is the mix of all three. Yes, yeah, the mix. So, some trends in travel for 2025 predicted by travel industry experts. Okay, so I found some on the internet. And one interesting one I saw was stargazing. So, stargazing means looking at the night sky and enjoying the night sky. And according to the experts, it's getting more and more popular. Has anybody ever traveled to Sweden or Norway or Iceland to see the beautiful sky and night sky, especially with the aurora borealis, the northern lights? I think it would be amazing. So, yes, that's a good option. Ellen, you would like to do this. Florence, you too. So, stargazing. It looks. Yeah, it's wonderful, wonderful, absolutely. Next is calm destinations. So, quiet places, small villages, or maybe a holiday on a sailing boat where it's very relaxing and you can just forget about stress. You can forget about your problems and just relax and be somewhere peaceful and calm. A trend. Next is interesting, and thank you, Sebastian. That's a good comment. Yes, everybody here is writing really well, and so it's great to have you guys and your contributions. So next, it's cool destinations, and some people think cool means it's really really popular at the moment. It's really cool. But in fact, cool, the word has a lot of different meanings. And one meaning is a little bit cold, not very hot. So, cool destinations, again, Iceland, Sweden, Canada, maybe Normandy in the winter, or Brittany in the winter or autumn. So, where you don't go somewhere very sunny, it can be a popular also. Next is nostalgia travel. So this is looking at some nostalgia, things that maybe you remember from previous years or previous generations. So, for example, luxury train cars like you see in old movies, like the Orient Express or something like that. It's nostalgic for a previous time. It's really nice. The other picture, it's more American style, but apparently it's quite popular in the US and Canada now. And it is summer camps for adults. So, usually in America and Canada, a lot of kids go to and teenagers go to summer camps and do different activities. But now a lot of adults are doing the same. It's a nostalgia travel idea. Um, and another option is eco-friendly travel. So bike tours, we mentioned already, cycling, or volunteering. We also mentioned so volunteering and conservation projects. So a conservation project trying to protect nature and to protect animals, the conservation project. Okay, and just to finish this evening, because archaeology, Ellen, okay, yes, that could be a big trend in 2025 too. Maybe visiting some rooms or volunteering with some archaeologists could be really interesting. In the picture, yeah, maybe it looks like archaeology, but in fact, no, they are helping a turtle. So a turtle is laying eggs on the beach, and the volunteers are helping to protect the turtle eggs. So it's just a project to help the turtles. Okay, so to finish this evening, yeah, I want to talk about the benefits of tourism. What are some of the benefits of tourism? If you live in a place like Paris, like Biarritz or Bordeaux, what are some of the benefits of tourism? What are some of the good things that tourism brings to the region? What do you think? Any ideas? What are some of the benefits of tourism? So I have the idea, job opportunities, employment. So if there's tourism, usually there are a lot of job opportunities. Yeah, so Emily said it benefits the economy. It's good for the economy. Yes, it's true. It's true. Any other benefits? Yeah, the economy, local shops. Yes, exactly, exactly. And local shops and local producers, important too. Yes, artists, things like that. Yeah. Another benefit, in my opinion, is cultural exchange. So you can learn about different cultures and different ways of life, different perspectives. Okay, so it keeps some monuments alive. Let tell you exactly. That's a good point. So sometimes some monuments or some historic sites are not in good condition, and yes, it's tourism can help to keep them alive, can help with their maintenance. Exactly. Okay, so Freddie said to control affluence too. Yes, yes, it can. It can. Sylvain said souvenir. Yeah, Florence, maintenance of monuments. Exactly. Good point. Souvenir, be careful, Sylvain. In English, we use the word souvenir, but when you travel to London or to New York, San Francisco, you will see shops and it will say souvenir shop. And you can buy a fridge magnet or a T-shirt or something like that. In London, maybe you can buy a teacup. So it's something that you can bring home from your trip. But for what's in your mind, it's your memory. So a benefit of tourism is creating good memories. Creating good memories. The souvenir in English, it's just what you buy. It's a product, usually to remember a trip, maybe a fridge magnet or a T-shirt, a key ring, something like that. And Alan says, yes, to understand better how others live. Exactly, exactly. Yes, like the cultural exchange that I mentioned before. Exactly that. It's a good way to express it. Okay. Sylvain, do you ever buy souvenirs? Do you buy souvenirs when you go on holiday? What souvenir did you buy when you went to Ireland? Now, what about problems caused by tourism? Does anybody know, are there any problems caused by tourism? What could be some of the negative aspects of tourism? Okay, Ellen said, a Guinness from Ireland, it's a good souvenir, but you drink it and then it's gone. A souvenir you want to keep, but maybe a Guinness fridge magnet. Yeah, Sylvain said a glass of Guinness, but it's not really a souvenir because you drink it. Um, okay, so yes, Letelier said a problem of tourism is pollution. Exactly, it's a very good example. If you think about cruise ships, they create a lot of pollution. If you think about all of the flights, there's a lot of pollution. Freddie and Sylvie said a similar thing: overpopulation, overcrowding, too many people in the same place at the same time. Yes, absolutely. Overcrowding. Caroline said it's too noisy. There's noise pollution. Yes. The garbage people leave behind, all the garbage that people leave behind. Exactly. Water bottles. Exactly. Yeah. Florence, that's a good example. The accommodation of residents, there's pressure on accommodation of residents. A good example is in Barcelona, but even in Paris too. So sometimes local people cannot find a place to live because there are too many Airbnbs. It's a big problem. Yeah. Good. Yeah, Freddie agrees about the garbage. Yeah, it's really sad when you go to the beach and you see water bottles and garbage. Okay. Okay, Ellen makes a good point. Usually, tourist hotspots, popular tourist destinations are seasonal. So, for example, she mentioned Ile de Ré. The problem is you have so many tourists in the peak season, and for the low season, it's a dead island. Okay, nobody can afford to live there. Nobody can afford to live there. Okay, or people cannot afford to live there. People cannot afford to live there. Remember, with afford, we will use the full infinitive. Afford to live there. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. So we often describe the situation as seasonal. In peak season, it's busy, people have jobs, and in the low season, there are no jobs, it's difficult. Emily says damage, yeah, damage to monuments, damage to natural places. Yes, it's a big problem. Yeah, it's nice sometimes too. After the peak season, nature is reborn. Exactly. And sometimes tourists destroy the destination. Yes, it's true. Yes, we can see this in different places, unfortunately. Good. Okay, so maybe we are finished now, but if anybody wants to share their summer holiday plans, if anybody has any plans. So, for example, I am going to go to Italy, and I'm excited about that because I'm going to eat delicious Italian food and enjoy the beautiful Italian landscape. What about you guys? Does anybody have any summer holiday plans that they want to share? And of course, if you have any questions, just ask. You can ask now or send me an email. Remember, patrick@anglify.com is my email address. So if you have any questions, you can ask anytime. So Ellen asked, so where do you go in Italy? So remember, Ellen, where do you go? It's like a general, a routine. So maybe if I say, I go to Italy every year, you can say, oh, where do you go? I go to Milan every year. But it's not a routine for me to go to Italy. So here we are talking about this summer in the future. So you could say, where will you go in Italy? Where will you go in Italy? Or where are you going in Italy? Good. Where are you going in Italy? Good. Very good. I am going to Umbria. It's a province near Rome. It's a little bit north of Rome in the center of Italy. So Umbria, Tuscany region. Florence is going to Italy as well. Good. Freddie is going to Austria. Freddie, you will love it. Austria is beautiful. So Letelier said you should talk about Ireland. In fact, Letelier, I want to talk about Ireland again, and I do have the plan, but there are a lot of good topics. But trust me, I will talk about Ireland again because it's a great topic in my opinion. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Ellen. We will. Caroline is going to Thailand, where her daughter lives. Okay. Great. Good idea. Okay. Yeah, it's nice to visit family and visit a beautiful destination as well. Thailand is fantastic. So, yeah, keep it coming. If anybody, remember, if anybody wants to share anything, to ask anything, now is the chance. I will be here for a couple more minutes. And I want to tell you about next week's webinar. It's about news and journalism and the importance of news and journalism for your listening and reading. In the webinars, I've tried to look at some grammar, pronunciation, vocabulary, and now I want to look at listening and reading. So next week, it will be all about listening and reading and using news and media and journalism to help you with that. Okay. So Christoph says, I think I am going to Greece to do sailing. Okay, you are not certain, but that sounds fantastic, Christoph. The Greek islands, I think they're beautiful. Okay. Len said, I can help you visiting your daughter. You can be Caroline's assistant. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. Me too, actually. Yeah. Okay, so guys, if you don't have any questions, I want to say thank you very much. It's been great to spend this 1st of May with you. And as you know, I'm available by email anytime. So I hope that you enjoyed this. And I hope to see you next week for news and journalism. And then we will take a little break. So next week will be the last webinar for maybe 2 weeks. And hopefully, we will restart at the end of May. So please come next week on Thursday at 8 o'clock as usual. And then there will be a little break for 2 weeks and we will restart at the end of May, I think. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Sylvain, Caroline, Sylvie, Emily, everybody. Thank you, Ellen. Okay, thank you. Yes, I'm glad you'll be here next week. Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you. Great, Latelier. I'm looking forward to seeing you here next week. Thanks, Delphine, Florence, CV. Okay, great. I think I will see you next week. Martine, thank you for coming. Christoph, thanks a lot. Nicole, Christoph, everybody. Okay, so thanks a lot. It's been a really fun evening, and now we can go and relax. I am going to go to check on the frogs. Good night, everybody. Good night.